Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. This is going to be a very long video. So I'm thinking of breaking it up into two parts. So I'll answer the first few questions in part one, and part two will answer the rest of the questions. So each Wednesday, I usually do what's called a Q&A, where you guys ask me your questions and I answer them. And this week, there wasn't a lot of questions. It wasn't like a ton of questions, but there were some really good ones that deserve good answers, like longer answers. So I kind of wanted to kind of delve deeper into some of the answers for some of these questions. So I figured, hey, rather than, having it just be this really long video that nobody's going to watch the whole thing. I figured if I break it into two parts, it might be a little easier to digest. So with that being said, I'll get into the questions. If you have questions for me, you can leave in the comments below. Any comments that are a question on this video, I generally will answer next week in the video. So I'll give you a shout out and everything. So I recommend ask the questions below. So the first question is, hello, Alan. I'm Alan. Thank you for all your work you do on this channel, which is so interesting. My question is, how do you find the time for your comic collecting and YouTube videos? Building such a huge collection, collaborating with others, running a business, judo training, to get a third Dan, and family on top of all that. This is what I find the most impressive, is that you're so organized with your time. You manage to fit it all in. I wish I could do the same and I have too little time for my comics. With regards, Andrew in the UK. Okay, so this is from Hannah J is the question, who asked the question. So shout out to Hannah J. Okay, so I don't want to claim to be very well organized, because anyone that knows me would be like, you don't really know Alan that well. So I'm not super organized, to tell you the truth. But I do manage to do a bunch of things. Fortunately, I work from home. I manage my teams of people. I have like several teams that work for me. Like I have 3 offices, so that I own. And the people there, they work for me, and they do a lot of the back end work that I do. So I have about 20 employees, and it's a full-time job just managing that. So I work, that, and that's like a full-time job. Then I manage about 400 clients, which some are transient, so it's not like I have to deal with them all the time. But in a typical day, I generally deal with about 20 to 30 clients. So it's a pretty busy day. And I'm putting out their fires and basically, trying to save them with their businesses. And I really do save them from themselves half the time. So my days are kind of filled with that. But the cool thing about my life is I do work from home, and it allows me to multitask. So I can work on the things that I have to work on, but I can also like watch YouTube videos. I can do those things on the side. So I have like usually like a YouTube video playing, and I have my work on another window that I'm just sort of multitasking. And that's kind of my life. I do those two things, and I look at comics and stuff like that as well. And that's kind of the way I do those two parts of my life. And I'm on the phone a lot. Usually I'm answering the phone, Skype, Zoom, and like instant messages, and all these things all at the same time. So usually I have about 4 or 5 conversations going on at the same time. That's another challenge about my life. But other than that, and emails, that's the other big thing. And I get about a few hundred emails that I have to respond to a day. So I'm very fast at what I do, at least. That's one good thing going for me. But in terms of my family, my kids are at an age where they're older. They're like, my son's 12, my daughter is 16, going on 17. She's turning 17 soon. So they're at the age where they don't really want to hang out. It's so sad. I really want to hang out with them and try to spend more time with them. But, maybe I'll spend maybe an hour or two a day with my kids and family. It's kind of sad, actually. I want to spend more time with them, but often just because of work and all the things that I do, I don't really get to spend much time with them. So, they're usually studying or playing video games or doing their thing. So sadly, I don't get to spend as much time with my kids as I would love to do. I do try to force them, like, at least supper time, spend like, a good hour with them. And then we watch a movie maybe. So, maybe 2 to 3 hours max is what I get out of my kids. it's hard. But I work really long hours, so it's kind of hard to do both. Um, Usually I don't get much sleep. So I sleep between 4 and 6 hours a day is usually what I can get. So I work very long days and have very little time. And then I can sort of manage things, sort of multitasking a lot of the time. But I used to do judo, and that actually did take up a lot of my time because I not only was training for my third degree black belt, but I was training other people for their black belts. I was the uke, which is kind of like the partner for somebody to help them get their grading for multiple black belts. I helped probably about 10 people get their black belt, and I was always their partner because I'm small. People love me as a partner. I'm easy to throw, I'm easy to abuse, and yeah, I've always kind of got into that judo thing, and I would do judo maybe, I don't know, like 6 to 10 hours a week, like, not full on, but fairly active. And when I would go for the black belt stuff, that would be actually more like 10 to 15 hours a week. So that was much more intense because there was a lot more trainings involved. And then there would be competitions as well. I kind of wanted to show this because I love my judo. I love judo. Back in 2005, when my daughter was born, I got this. They had the World Judo competition. This is a bronze medal. World Judo competition in Canada. So this is the World Judo competition. Hopefully you can see it. I won bronze, which, I thought was kind of good for my weight class. I'm tiny, so yeah. So I really trained hard for that. I was actually going to 2 clubs at the time, and I was training like really intensely for that. But that was a long time ago. However, in recent years, there was a competition that was coming up, and I was really training hard for it. And what happened was, the guy threw me. Like, we were training, we are just practicing, and the other sensei asked me to be uke, or the guy that gets demonstrated on, for a younger student. He was like a teenager, bigger than me, but still, yeah, a young guy. And he threw me, and he did a throw that is very, very dangerous. Like one of these throws that shouldn't be done unless you really, really know the throw. And it's one that actually it's part of my repertoire in terms of throws that I use. But this kid didn't know it. And that's why I think they wanted me to be uke, because I knew the throw very, very well. So the kid threw me, and it's a throw where you basically hold both arms. And normally in judo, you have to do what's called a break fall, which is where you basically reduce the impact of the fall by using one of your arms to kind of hit the mat and kind of absorb some of the shock. So what happened was the kid didn't let go of my arms. And not only did he not do that, which is sort of the basic, he threw me onto my head and neck. And this happened about 5 years ago. So it's been a while. 5 years ago, so what happened was he threw me on my head and my neck, and I knew instantly something was wrong. And I went to the hospital, actually. And the hospital in Canada, it's Canadian Medical Care. For anyone that ever says Canadian healthcare is great, do not believe them. It sucks. Canadian healthcare is terrible. We're worse than third world. And I really mean that. It's terrible here. More people die because they can't get health care in Canada because you have to wait for it. It's really bad. So what happened was I went to the hospital, waited a few hours. The doctor, like, they didn't want to do an x-ray or MRI on my neck, even though I said I was in real pain. I had all the symptoms of a concussion, and they just refused. Because they don't want to, they have this weird rule that if they don't find anything, then they have to pay, the doctor themselves have to pay for the MRI, which doesn't make any sense, but that's what they do in Canada. And so what happened was the doctor didn't want to do that. So over 2 years, I begged various doctors. I would try to go in to different doctors to see if any of them would allow me to get an MRI. Finally, after 2 years, and I stopped judo. I had to stop judo altogether because I had major concussion symptoms. I forgot actually about a year of my life. That's how bad it was. So what happened was, after 2 years of trying to get an MRI, just because I knew there was something wrong, but nobody believed me, I finally got an MRI. I found a doctor that was nice enough to take the risk that, there might have been something wrong with me that should be examined. So they examined, and they called me into a specialist. And the specialist said, "What are you doing?" Like, he was shocked when he got the MRI results. And he called me in as an emergency. He said, "How are you still alive?" Basically. "How are you able to walk?" Because I had broken my neck. So for 2 years, I was walking around with a broken neck. And I knew that there was something wrong. But doctors in Canada, so annoying. So basically, I broke right in here, this vertebra. And it was like only maybe a couple millimeters, like maybe less than a millimeter. You can see the bone in the MRI. It's like right up against the nerve. If it was like a millimeter more, I would be either paralyzed or dead. That's how close I came to dying that day. So because of that, I stopped doing judo. And I was sort of dealing with this concussion for many years now. And still, I have these bad days where I can't remember things. I have real problems. But that's been kind of my journey with that side of my life, the whole judo part. And it's sad because I really love judo, and I loved training people. I loved having students and getting them to black belt. And that's all gone because of this one unfortunate thing where the guy was just being careless when he threw me. And it happens. It does happen. So that was kind of my journey in terms of judo, in terms of my life. And in terms of doing all the comics, my comics are kind of my stress release against all this stuff that I'm doing with my life. So what I do is I record these videos. I don't edit them. And, the amount of time that I spend on it isn't really that much, So if you look at an average week, I record maybe 7 videos and, it's about, at the most, like 4 to 5 hours worth of work because I basically record them and upload them. So there's really not that much time that I devote to the comic part. And the videos allow me to actually see my collection because a lot of the time I'm working and I don't get to go down into this area to see my collection. So when I do these videos, it's really a good time for me because I get to see my collection. I love my comic collection. This is my little paradise. Very relaxing for me. So I hope that kind of answers your question. I know I wish I could give you some this is how do you organize your life and how to keep timelines and all that kind of stuff. I'm terrible at that. I just go with the flow and I just do what I need to do. And I try to hang out with people when I can, and I try to do whatever I can when I can. But that's my life. That's what it is. Okay, so as I said, I want to give good answers to these questions. Okay, so my next question is from Epoch252. 2. I recently discovered your channel. I love seeing all the different covers from all the eras of comics. I've been collecting comics on and off since the late 1990s. I've always wanted to get into the Golden Age, but never knew where to start. The cost and the fact could never find the books in the local Bakushu stores outside of eBay. This week I finally took the plunge and picked off my first Golden Age book, Jungle Comics 74. I just loved the cover and it wasn't too expensive. Thank you for inspiring me to finally get a Golden Age book into my collection. You're welcome. So that's a really great book. I actually wish I brought my copy of it. I believe I have Jungle Comics 74 somewhere in my boxes. Jungle Comics, I just want to comment about this one. This is not really a question, but I really wanted to comment about this because I'm glad that I can inspire people to get into Golden Age. You know, I love Golden Age comics. They just have a certain coolness to them, not just because they're old, but just the style's a little different. The way that they approach things is a little different. And I kind of appreciate that little bit of nostalgia. Jungle Comics is a really good choice as a first choice to get into Golden Age because they're very affordable. For the most part, Jungle Comics, you're looking at anywhere from $50 to $100. And, you know, high grades, obviously, you know, different than that, you know, but you can still even get a high grade. I wish I had it handy, but I have a nice Jungle Comics. I paid $300 for it and it's an 8.0 and it's a really nice comic cover. And of course, oh, it's up there, right there. It's the one with the slicey thing. So I'm not sure if you can see it. It's up there. But, you know, it's a really great series. I definitely recommend it. Another series which is actually slightly more affordable in the later issues is Jumbo Comics. So that's another one you might like. There's a lot of some sort of Golden Age comics that people don't realize how affordable they are. So never get discouraged by how expensive some of the comics are. I always say look a little bit further with them. So for example, like, you know, you see like some comics and they're literally thousands of dollars. But if you look at some of the issues nearby those big issues, generally they're fairly affordable. Like Witch's Tales is a good example of that. There's a lot of issues in that series that are very affordable. Some of the Archie ones, like Archie 50 up there is pretty expensive, but some of the other Archies are fairly affordable in the Golden Age. A lot of the Dell 4 colors are very affordable. Tim Holt is very affordable, like kind of the Westerns and stuff. And there's some really great comics that are from the Golden Age that are really, really affordable. So definitely look into the Golden Age. You know, what I always recommend is if you see some really cool comic that's from the Golden Age, look for other issues in that series and you might like those covers too. And you can find them very cheap. I actually was picking up, just as an aside, I was picking up a bunch of L.B. Cole covers recently. I kind of like his style, so I've been picking up his stuff for about $100. And these are like pretty big issues, Golden Age horror titles and L.B. Cole. So I mean, there are deals out there. You just gotta look. You gotta keep on looking. Some of the ones that I would recommend in the L.B. Cole series would be Terrors of the Jungle or Terrifying Tales. So those are two that you can look for. Okay, and they're usually expensive, just so you know, but you can find deals if you kind of look for auctions. Okay, next question. Black Boxed Silver and Bronze, who you got to check out his channel. Really great guy. I think he lives in Hawaii, I'm gonna say. he might say I'm wrong, but I think he's in Hawaii, and he's just a really great guy. He has some amazing stuff in his collection, and he's been responding to my weekly shout outs, my weekly challenges, which I'm actually gonna kind of slow down. I'm gonna make it maybe bi-weekly or monthly. I'm debating about it. But he wrote the following. I'm looking forward to tomorrow's video, negotiating the 3 Ps. And if you missed that video, I aired it last week on Thursday, where I talk about my negotiating strategies. And I got a lot of flack for that. And because maybe I'm a bad buyer, where I try to negotiate. So I lived in Asia for 3 years. And when living in Asia, you learn to negotiate because everything's a negotiation. It's just everything. They love to negotiate and haggle and stuff. So I always loved that. And I was always like that when I was a kid because I had no money and I'd always have to buy like some expensive coins. So I loved haggling. So my video about the 3 Ps is really orientated to how to negotiate and how to get kind of the best prices. But not at the expense of like pissing people off. You don't want to ever make somebody think that you have given them a bad deal, because that is just something where you can burn bridges. You don't want to burn bridges where, if you find somebody that has really great stuff and you want to get more from them later, well, you don't want to have it be the situation where they feel like you are always kind of ripping them off on price. So that's just a caveat to what I was saying before. Okay. But his question, like I just ramble. His question, on the wall behind you is Archie number 50. And if you look right there, Archie number 50. Okay. It's a very classic cover. It's Betty Page on a couch and she's kind of like talking about Archie. Do you have any more Archie comics in your collection? If so, show your top 5 or 10 and explain what is special about them. Okay, so as I said, I wanted to go more in depth. And this is where I think this is going to be a longer video just because of this one part. Because I really want to show Archie. I want to show my collection of Archie. So I didn't bring everything, so you're not going to like go, oh, not a million Archies. But I'm going to show you a bunch of really cool Archies. And I'm going to tell you why they're so special. So this one, and the reason I show this one first is to me, I don't know why, I always felt this way about this one. This is to me the sort of the bookend to Archie 50. So this is Archie 53, and this is Betty on the couch again, but it's just sort of a different angle of her, and she's writing in her diary. I just think, and it's another Bill Viega cover. So just a really great. The other one's Bon Montana actually, but this one I just think is a really great cover, and it's just kind of. To me, I always found these kind of matched. I don't know why. Maybe because she's both are on a couch and she's babbling about Archie. I don't know. But I just felt like that was the kind of match for that one. And I'm going to show you a bunch of raw comics. So Archie, I'm going to show the Archies first. And then I'm going to show you something a little bit different than Archie. So I showed this one in my Valentine's Day special. So this is like Archie 23. Just a nice Golden Age one. I just thought it was a nice Veronica cover. And I realize I have these all backwards. Okay. But then, so some of the things that I was looking for in Archie, like that I go for, are sexual innuendo covers or covers that have a little bit of good girl art. So I kind of liked this one, Archie number 36, has that good girl art, and he's like, writing librarian. So normally it said books may be taken out, but librarian may be taken out for 2 weeks. I thought that was kind of cute. And then we got another, this is a Bob Montana. So I try to get certain artists as well. I just like these kind of covers where, kind of good girl art style covers. That's number 38. And here's number 42. And again, I like the ones where he's changing the sign to make it say something different. Lovers Kiss instead of Lovers Kiss Sunday. So, yeah. And he basically says, I'll have one of these. And it's kind of cute. So, that's Archie 42. This one's in a bit of rough shape, but it's Archie 44. So just, her doing the good girl art thing, and he's like drawing, he's basically drawing, instead of her, he's drawing like wow, and like all this kind of stuff. It's kind of funny. And then this is Archie 46. So another good girl art cover, and he's just staring at the girls. I just think that's kind of cute. And this is another cute Archie. This is Archie 82, another Golden Age Archie. Actually, no, this is not Golden Age. It's a little later. So this is like, in that Atomic Age or maybe Silver Age. So we got Archie 82. It's just a really great, again, good girl, like lovers kind of cover. So those are some of the Archies. And some of the other series that I really enjoyed were Ginger. So these are Gingers. Ginger number 1. I showed this again on the Valentine's Day special. I actually have the complete collection of Ginger. Number 3. I really like Ginger. It's a character I really enjoy. And this is kind of like the one that's similar to the Betty on the couch. This is like Ginger on the couch. So they're doing the same kind of thing. And we got Ginger number 5. Sorry, I'm going through these a little bit quicker. Ginger number 6. I think this is kind of cute. So this guy in the back, he's always trying to get Ginger, and she's always kind of treating him poorly. Just sort of, he's always getting the short end of the stick. And then, again, same guy in the back. In a weird way, I kind of relate to that guy. I was kind of the nerdy guy in school. So, we got Ginger, number 7. And then there's only 10 in this series. Ginger number, and again, the same little nerdy guy and Ginger. All the guys like Ginger. And this is Ginger number 8. And Ginger number 9. And Ginger number 10. I like this one. How about we put our heads together? I kind of like that. I think that was kind of cute. Ginger 10. These are all in pretty rough shape. It's hard to get Ginger comics in general. They're just pretty rare. But I at least have the complete collection. Maybe I'll upgrade them over time. Now I'm going to show you some of the sexual innuendo covers I really like. There's Archie 446. This is a nice cherry blossom cover. Yeah, she's all hot and sizzly. And this one's a pretty famous cover. This is Betty and Veronica, number 65. And it's like, how's the view up there? And it's like, they're two sexy girls and one's bending over. It's like, oh, it's getting better and better. I just think that's great. And then we got one of the only nude covers. And this is weird that people don't realize it. This is actually, I think, the only nude Archie cover. And you can check to see if you can find another one. But this is one that I know is a nude Archie cover. And it's Betty and Veronica 6. And she's in a bathtub. So actually I have 2 copies of this. So I might do a giveaway with one of these ones. So not an expensive comic. It just happens that it's a kind of a nude comic. So yeah, so I thought that was interesting. And then we got Betty and Veronica 320. This is kind of a major issue. This is the first appearance of Cheryl Blossom, and that's her on the cover right up in the corner. She's the kind of the vixen redhead. So yeah, that was kind of cool. Cheryl Blossom. I always say Sherry because I'm mixing up another character, but Cheryl Blossom. And this one actually one of my viewers told me to get. A very good recommendation. This one was a controversial one where it's the devil, where they Betty and Veronica both make sort of a deal with the devil. So a Christian group actually protested and had this comic removed. So this is usually a pretty rare comic. This is Betty and Veronica number 75. So very cool comic. And another really great one, again, sexual innuendo. This was on the hot list many times. This is Archie 511. Really rare comic, and one that a lot of collectors chase after. Because it's like, my horoscope predicted I'm in the pink today. So it's one of those sexual innuendos, because both girls are wearing pink. And it's kind of a little bit suggestive. And another one where he's kind of commenting about the girls' figures maybe a bit. So, Archie, how's the weather on the slopes? And it's raining, it's pouring, it's like really bad. But he's saying it's just beautiful. So, because yeah. So how is it up on the slopes, I should say? And he's like looking at the two girls, their slopes maybe. He's saying it's just beautiful. So that was a pretty cool one. Another one that I liked that I showed on the Valentine's Day one is this one. I just really like this because they're looking cute and like so lovey, and like they're best friends, and yet they both have like a hatchet and like a noose. I just think that's really great. I really like some of these covers for Archie. And I have 3 more to show. This one's Archie's Madhouse. Really great one. This is the first appearance of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, a character that I really, really like. And so this is Archie Madhouse number 22 from 1962. Just a nice Silver Age book. First appearance of Sabrina the Teenage Witch. And this is one of my favorite covers. This is actually one of my favorite all-time Archie covers, and I just think it's a modern comic. This is Afterlife with Archie, the variant, by Andrew Pepoy. It's just a really great kind of sexy lingerie thing going on there, and zombies, and like I really like it. The colors are just really great. It's this really great greens and yellows. Just really nice. I just really like this cover. Just one of my favorite. The Archie 50 would probably be my favorite Archie, actually. But yeah, so this is the last one. This is Wilbur number 5, which is the first appearance of Katie Keene. So another really great book to have in the collection. So Wilbur number 5, and it's the first appearance of Katie Keene. So just kind of a cool book. So those are all that was from 1945 too. So she's like a nice golden age character. So those are my Archies. That's like a big long, I hope that interests you. I hope those were kind of cool for those people that like Archie. And, I figured that was a good way to end it. So this is part 1 of a 2-part. So I'm going to, I didn't want this to be like an hour-long video and then kind of make it overwhelming. So I kind of leave it there. So that's 50, 50% of the viewers' questions answered. And there's some really great questions that I will answer next time, which will be tomorrow. I'll just play it tomorrow. So you don't have to wait long, and you'll see the last half of this 2-part segment thing. Some of the stuff that I'm showing in the second part is just insane, actually. It's really cool things that you really got to see. So I recommend that you check out tomorrow's video because it's going to be cool. Like there's some stuff that I had to actually, steal. And I'll explain it when I show it next tomorrow. Okay. So, yeah, with that, thanks for watching. Please leave your comments on this video and tomorrow's video too. If you on either video, I will respond to it in my weekly video and I'll post it next week. So thanks again for watching, and bye for now.